Chapter 8, No Paradise. Puerto Rico was just like I remembered it, green with a bright blue sky and so beautiful. We lived on a hilltop village outside the city of Caguas. There were very few people in the village, and most of them were related to Pedro. Still, I was somewhat mesmerized by the sugarcane fields, mango trees, and banana plants that bordered the road up to the house. The house was a modern structure made of cement with inside plumbing. I had expected to be living in a wooden shack with an outhouse for a toilet. Thank God for modern changes. From the moment we stepped in the house, Pedro began to assert his authority over my sisters and me. He threatened to kill me if I got out of line, while my mother ignored his words as all talk. Pedro had bought a machete that he carried at all times, and he often threatened me with it. I cut a baseball bat-sized piece of guava tree for protection and carried it with me at all times. Not one day went by without a confrontation between Pedro and me. Pedro had told as many people as possible that I was a criminal and a drug user. That made it hard for me to make friends. The few people who did talk to me usually asked Pedro if his accusations were true. I became a loner. I would walk on the land behind the house and lose myself in my own little world. I spent my days climbing orange and mango trees, talking to myself and wishing I were dead. In my conversations with myself, I conjured up a group of friends and romantic interludes. I had many imaginary torrid sexual affairs which I made real by masturbating. It was only in my own non-existent world that I found any kind of happiness. My sisters, on the other hand, got along just fine. They made friends who picked them up and took them places. They always ignored me. I began to think that maybe something was wrong with me and that it had nothing to do with Pedro. Nevertheless, I began to adore sitting up high alone in the trees eating fruit and fantasizing about Jenny, Maria, and Chicago. After 6 months of loneliness and hell, my mother decided to send me back to Chicago to live with Pedro's son Hector. She grew tired of breaking up fights between Pedro and me and said I was the cause of all her troubles. She said she didn't know what else to do with me, so she sent me away. I should have been hurt that she felt that way, but instead I was elated. I only wish she had gotten tired of me much sooner. My mother's decision to rid herself of me did not surprise me. I was just surprised that she didn't beat me all the way to the airport like she said she was going to. I never bothered to ask her why she treated me with such hatred. I'm sure she must have had some logical explanation for her actions. After all, she was my mother. Un hijo de la gran puta, a son of a bitch, was what she called me. I wonder if she ever stopped to think about those words. Maybe she was right.